So something went pretty viral on the internet over the last couple days, and I feel like it kind of got covered up due to all of this controversy here on YouTube, especially with people who, kind of focus on YouTube anyway. Obviously, James Charles and Pro Jared kind of took over the internet over the last couple days due to just basically how much of scumbags they both are. However, there's something going on that it's almost funny, okay, because it's just so stupid and doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and I don't even see how it would ever help in any situation. However, apparently a lot of people see it, and we're going to be talking about that today. Now, you might know who Alyssa Milano is. I'm not too familiar with what she does or anything. I do know her name. I'm pretty sure she was a pretty big part of the Me Too movement, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember, if I'm being honest with you. It's been a couple years since that whole thing kind of spearheaded and everything, so I can't really remember who came up with it, but I'm pretty sure she was a pretty huge part of that one kind of boiling over and whatnot. But she came out on Twitter a few days ago and she declared a sex strike, okay? Now here's why this sex strike is supposed to happen. Now this ended up trending and everything. Surprisingly, there was a lot of backlash pretty much universally from this. There were feminists and SJWs who were destroying her for this. There was cis white males, the worst people on earth. We were destroying her for this one because it's just so stupid. Now, the reason that this is supposed to happen, this whole sex strike is supposed to happen, is because all over the country, a bunch of very, restrictive abortion laws have been put into effect. Now, a lot of states have already had really strict abortion rules and basically completely outlawed them for a very long time, okay? But in states like Georgia and here in Ohio, we recently passed these bills called heartbeat bills, which basically make it to where if you can detect a heartbeat in the fetus, you can't end up aborting the child. So, obviously, very controversial bills. I'm not here to discuss my personal opinion on abortion. Everyone's free to have their own opinion, everyone's going to have an opinion. I don't really care about that part. What I really care about is the fact that this is apparently going to lead to a sex strike. Now, okay, let's take a look, let's take a logical dive into the demographics, really, of who this sex strike is really supposed to target. So, the whole point of having this strike is to basically punish men for not giving women full access and control over their bodies, right? Now, most of the people who support abortion are elderly conservative peoples. That's the type of people who think that abortion should be outlawed. I should say supporting abortion being outlawed and banned and whatnot. They think that it's terrible, they believe it's murder, they believe God would want you to have that child and whatnot. So your whole strike is supposed to be against those people. That's the people you're trying to really change the minds of. How many 80-year-old dudes named Walter do you know are out here getting their nuggets dipped anyways? Okay, let's be really honest here, okay? You're trying to, punish these people for thinking differently than you, yeah, we're not gonna give them any ass. Dude, this guy hasn't had sex since VCRs were still the most popular form of media, This dude could care less whether or not you're having this strike, okay? And old Betty, who's fucking 87, do you think she's out here just handing out the ham sandwich to everyone on the block? I mean, come on now. Everyone at the retirement home has already given up any chance of ever getting ass again. So, your whole little movement here to, punish people who think that this is okay, 80% of the people in that group that you're trying to punish already have a permanent sex strike going on in their life, okay? You're not going to be affecting anybody's mentality. You're not going to change their minds. That's like having a strike where you stop giving cheese to lactose intolerant people, They're already not eating it, dude, Come on now. Let's use our brains a little bit here. See, if you understand that, that central point right there, that already completely negates the effectiveness of this entire strike. Because a sex strike, number one, you're never going to get that off, because believe it or not, women also really like that. They enjoy sex. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Women also have, that natural instinct. Women also get horny, and they also, they like to jump some pole, or they like to, go down on other girls, whatever. There's sexualities and stuff like that. We all know about all this stuff, right? Men aren't the only ones who like to hump. I don't know if you guys knew that. So, how are you gonna get all women to unite when you have this natural primal urge, to do this thing? It's just not gonna go anywhere. I think they were thinking kind of oh, well, Gandhi did his little hunger strike against the British and stuff back in the day, but the difference is this fool would have died. okay? Gandhi would have died in the hands of the British, okay? And that would have looked awful to their reputation around the world, and that probably would have caused a huge revolt. So there was like actually reason, you know, for them to listen to what Gandhi was doing. I mean, Grandpa Bob and Grandma Betty down at the nursing home aren't just like banging it out on a twice a day basis, right? Just they didn't even think that part through. Whoever she came up with this with, I don't know if there was other people, missed the number one biggest part that would actually hurt it. Like, you can't even hurt the demographic you're trying to hurt with this protest. But on top of that, okay, and this is actually a pretty good point. I didn't think about this, but a lot of feminists and SJWs were actually making this point. It was actually a pretty good point, okay, in my opinion. And they were saying, like, you know, Alyssa Milano has been all for the women's rights and whatnot, and she wants men to stop, you know, treating women like they're nothing but sex objects and whatnot. Basically, they want men to give them this right to abortion and whatnot, and they want men to treat them like they're grown-ups and like they can make their own decisions and stuff, which they should be. But yet Alyssa is literally starting a movement that completely, you know, derails their ability to negotiate with anything but sex. Like, the whole movement is based on, like, well, you won't let us talk, so we're just not going to be able to be used for your pleasure anymore because we're going on sex strike. So, like, their point is that negotiating with your body is only going to make men think that, like, you don't have any ability to reason or negotiate, and that it pushes, like, that mentality of, like, using women as a sex object more, which I can understand. I mean, not necessarily with me or most people that I know, but, I mean, I can see that point, because there are really ways that you can go about getting these bills repealed. Okay, a lot of these politicians, they really rely on this thing called votes, okay? If they're not voted in office, they're not making money from lobbyists. They don't have the control to put anything in that they want and make it law, you know, with their other little buddies and stuff who believe what they do. So to these people, it's quite important that they get voted into office. Well, one thing about the United States that I don't really understand is that pretty much everyone here has the right to vote after you turn 18, as long as you're not a felon or whatever. There's a couple guidelines and stuff that will take away your voting rights, but everyone here has the ability to vote, pretty much. I'm generalizing pretty well, but nobody seems to ever want to vote, and then, like, once we get the shitbags in office who do things that are clearly against public interest and that don't make any sense to anyone other than, like, them and a couple other people in the government and, like, lobbyists and stuff, then people get mad and outraged. They're like, who voted this guy in? It's like, well, if you would go and vote, people like this wouldn't be in office, you know? Go vote for actually intelligent people. Not that many intelligent people actually run for office, but there are some good pickings every once in a while. If you stop voting in these 77-year-old conservative men to do literally everything on your behalf, maybe then you can worry about possibly having somebody who will actually represent your interest. Because let's be honest, even like you and your grandpa don't have, you know, 100% ideological similarities, right? Because he's from a completely different generation where things were completely different, okay? I talk with my grandparents all the time. It's not even close a lot of the time when it comes down to what we believe. I would never elect somebody their age to represent me and then wonder, like, what's going on in our country. Do you really think some, like, 80-year-old man from the Bible Belt is going to be like, yeah, abortion, let's go, baby? So if people go out and actually vote these people out, and they vote in, you know, younger, fresher minds who are more politically aligned with what people actually want, God, I hate getting sick, dude, it sucks, then maybe you wouldn't have to worry about some of these things. Now, that's not a 100% end-all be-all to it, because, of course, some younger people also, you know, tend to believe in more traditional things. It's kind of part of conservatism. But there are also more women in the United States than there are men. Almost 51% of the population is female, while only about 49% is male. So if literally everyone could vote, women would have pretty much the voting majority. And not only can you just vote these people out, you can also do things like petition them, okay? So since they're so reliant on votes, like, all women really have to do is just, like, flood their inboxes with threats to not vote for them, because, believe it or not, there are men who also support, you know, the right to abort. If you stop voting these people in and you start making threats to have them voted out in the next election, you know, eventually they kind of have to go and do what you want them to do. There are very decent political ways to get rid of these people. and to make sure that you're more represented. However, one of those things I wouldn't say honestly is like having a sex strike, because not only can we just rub one out, but the number one demographic of people you're really trying to beat with that already isn't beaten cheeks. And on top of that, like a lot of feminists even agreed, you know, just not using logic and reason to argue these things out and just acting as if sex is the only negotiating tool kind of devalues the opinion of women to a lot of these people who are already sexist. So in reality, something like this is doing no good for the people Alyssa's trying to help, okay? So this topic was pretty universally criticized, it seems, which is kind of rare. It was weird almost. Like, everyone, including the feminist SJWs, kind of came together and were like, you know what? Maybe this just isn't really the one. Probably in the best interest, honestly, because, I mean, nothing would be solved with something like this happening, and it's just weird that it even got introduced in the first place. Anyways, I'm kind of mad, guys, that I haven't hit 500,000 subscribers yet, so I'm gonna do a subscriber strike, okay? If you're a subscriber here on the channel, or you're not subscribed here on the channel, make sure you get subscribed to the channel so you can participate in the strike. What you're going to want to do is leave a like on this video, tell me what you think about this down below, and also turn on the notification bell for always. That's like the strike right there, because I'm pissed. I'm not at 500k yet. I'm almost 300k, which is pretty sweet, but 500,000 is the next real goal. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on my channel. Follow me over on Twitter at @Optimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there. 3 great things. It's a surefire way to get notifications for all my newest content. Join the Discord down below, lots of great things going on down there as well. Thank you to my channel members for your $5 a month. Your support helps my channel tremendously. If you would also like to become a channel member and help support my content, you can do so for only $5 a month by hitting the join button or the become a channel member link down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus participating in the sex strike. And signing out.